Okay. TV rec, TV rec. I'm gonna try to bang this one out really quick. 'Cause, I didn't even write notes for this one. I'm sick as shit. I got a sore throat. I feel like hell right now. So there's vodka in this too, by the way. So keep this as brief, but as accurate as I humanly can. The Spy, this Netflix miniseries I saw recently. 6 episode limited series. Came out last year, about summer last year, I think. Sweat right from my big ass head. That Sacha Baron Cohen was in. He got nominated for a Golden Globe. He did not win, I believe. It's slipping my mind who won in that category. But if you like Sacha Baron Cohen as a comedic actor, it's really something to see actors more known for comedy step into drama, because he is a very, very capable dramatic actor. He's really, really good in this. This main character in this story, Ellie Cohen, real person, he, between the early and mid 60s, was served as an Israeli spy for, a spy for Israel who spied on the Syrians for the Mossad. And it tells a story between the period in 1959, when he was just something like an insurance clerk, and he's just sort of typing away at his job. After, throughout the 50s, it details prior that he had service with Egypt because he's originally from there, but circumstances with tensions in the region led him to move into Israel, and he actually applied for the Mossad, I believe, at one point, but was rejected, and then 2 years later gets his file picked up from rejected candidates and pulled in to make for an agent, because all of the other candidates they had at the time weren't making the cut, so to speak. So what they had him do was this training regiment, and almost like a boot camp of sorts, like a 6 month long course to see if he was fit to be a field agent. And the first thing they had him do when he became an agent was, for lack of a better phrase, take everything that he knew and chuck it out the window. They have someone literally come up to him and say, all right, your previous life is no longer valid. It doesn't exist anymore. Ellie Cohen no longer exists. Your name is this. Your job is this. Your title is this. Your wife no longer exists. Your kids or unborn kids no longer exist. Your old life is gone now. This is what you do. This is what you will stay doing. Your old family life, you can just go ahead and forget about that. They confiscate all of his letters that he writes to his wife. They make a big point of that in the show, that he really, really, really loves his wife, and that his wife really loves him. So he's so passionate as a Jewish patriot that he feels like he needs to do this for his country. And as far as any sort of detail about Israel versus Palestine sort of thing, it's not really that type of story, because it seems like one of those tales where someone would be like, I'm kind of iffy about wondering how certain ethnicities of people are portrayed in this tale. So it's not really a Israel and Palestine story as much as it is Israeli espionage against Syrian forces type of story, or Syrian intelligence, Syrian counterintelligence, stuff like that. It's more of a spy tale than big geographic sort of happenstance. This cold's kicking my ass. The first thing they have him do is go to Buenos Aires in Argentina, because there's a big I'm not sure if you would call it a delegation or I think they call it the Ba'ath Party, spelled Baath, of proud Syrians who claim they wanted to uplift the spirit of their people. And Eli Cohen, his job was to pose as a very rich, very wealthy Syrian businessman and import slash export tradesman, to make a point that he had a lot of money and a lot of connections so that he can get information from these high up people. And he would go from Argentina to Damascus, and he would spend a few years there getting various, numerous bits of intel on Syrian forces, like certain attacks that would happen, certain data that needed to be retrieved. Like, he communicated most of his shit through Morse code, by secret meetings, letters. I'm very shocked that he did everything short of sending a passenger pigeon. Carrier pigeon, sorry. Passenger pigeons are extinct, aren't they? He spends most of the time putting all this information back and forth, and in between all of this is still just riddled with homesickness because he misses his wife, he misses his kids, he misses his old life, he misses everything that he used to be. And every, like, more than week or so, month or so, year or so, he's like, I feel like I'm doing the right thing, but I miss home. He's not quite sure if he really wants to do it forever. Like, he didn't quite think it through before he got sort of signed up, or rather roped into it, or signed up slash roped in slash coerced into it, like convinced, like, are you a patriot? Do you want to do something useful for your country? Something similar to what I'd imagine an Army or Marine recruiter would tell, a young American. You value your country, son. You want to do something with your life? It's something like that, along those lines. But he gets in deep with a lot of very high up people, and at a couple different points when he wanted to come home, the Israeli, either intelligence community, they opted against it because they said, oh, he's like their minister of defense now. He's like a high up position in their government. We can't sacrifice that good of intelligence now. So they decided to just keep him in there against his own interests. But I'm talking mainly about the story, and I keep forgetting about the show itself. The show itself is, according to the part that I read, I didn't actually read the book that it's an adaptation of, but I did a little reading up on the details of that said story. And I believe the title of the original book, is in Israeli. And two different authors, I forget what their names were. But it detailed about, how Eli Cohen got all this information, how in the mid-60s he was sent back against his own better wishes, and he was ultimately found out and publicly executed. And to this day, the country of Syria won't give his remains back, which became a huge thing with his wife Nadia, who I believe is still alive, and the rest of his family, who for the decades since had been trying to get the government of that country to send his body back. And the series itself, after Buenos Aires, is actually a pretty small part. It's only like the second episode or so. But as it continues, it's more or less a straight up spy thriller or spy drama. He goes to 3 or 4 different countries. He gets very, very close with very, very powerful people, and like almost family close. Like, he's getting told their deepest inner secrets. And it doesn't get really, really intense until like the last couple of episodes. So overall, as a whole, I wouldn't quite call it an incredible or amazing show, but it is very, very good. It's interesting. It's highly interesting. It's a story I think is a relevant one, not just because of uh, geological circumstances or Middle East goings on or whatever, but because the nature of intelligence is so important. The nature of the worst case scenario of what happens when intelligence communities don't click on all cylinders or don't think about every single possible outcome with what could happen to an agent of theirs if they just sort of leave them hanging in the field and just don't give them anything to fall back on. But I'm not sure if I'm phrasing any of this right, but then again, my as fuck. Anyway, other than Sacha Baron Cohen, he's definitely the best part of this, by the way. He acts his ass off, and he deserves all the praise that he gets for playing Ali Cohen and his Arabic counterpart, the last name was Tabeth. He was running something called Tabeth Import and Export. That was his cover business. Like I said, he was supposed to be a very wealthy businessman. And when the Syrian officials, the one who would later start a military coup, like they straight up walked in and shot everybody and took over. When they found out that he was a spy, they were enraged. They had him publicly hanged with, I'm not sure what it said, but they had a big white banner hung on his neck that hung all the way down to his feet. And it had stuff in Arabic or Syrian written on it all the way down to the bottom. I'm guessing it was something like, because I feel like Leonardo DiCaprio in Once Upon a Time in Hollywood. The one general who gets the most pissed off and angered that his close ally was a spy. Like the one who is told by the other actor in this, I believe, is Alexander Siddig, the one who's suspicious of him pretty much the entire time. And the general is just baffled, like, I knew him for years. I told him everything. I let him into my house. I let him into my friends' houses. I let him in. I told him everything about everywhere and everything. Like, I need to have him killed. So he's publicly executed. And like I said, I don't know what the banner said, but I'm assuming it was something in regards to his faith, because they mention a lot about Syrian rebels fighting against what they referred to as the Zionists, or the Jewish faith, because Ali Cohen was born from a Jewish Zionist family in, I believe it was Alexandria, Egypt. And so it wasn't as much of a territorial conflict as much of as it was a religious and political conflict. I'm not sure if that's more or less the same thing, but I'm no politician and no military leaders. But the way the story is told is actually very well done. I like the two best parts about it are the acting and the directing, because it's directed like a really well done spy drama. It has a cinematic directorial quality to it. And if for no other reason, I would recommend it highly for Sacha Baron Cohen's performance, because he really, really sells this as one of the best things I've seen him in a leading role do. At least in a non-comedic sort of persona, or one of the caricatures that he sort of made for himself, which, ironically enough, made him the perfect fit for this character, a guy who has to go undercover and sort of forget who he used to be in order to chameleon himself into this new world. Sort of like how, I'm not sure if it's a good comparison, but Sacha Baron Cohen, he would come up with all these different characters, whether it be Borat or Bruno or, God, what was that one? The Dictator, where he showed up at the Oscars and spilled an urn on somebody. And he'd do all this wild shit. Or that new that Showtime TV show that he was doing, Who is America or something like that, where he's got this other type of makeup on or this prosthetic on his face, and he's going as this character fucking with politicians and shit. Like, I saw this clip where he had a dude bite a dildo. he had, he had dudes do some wild shit, but it was, yeah, it was really, really cool to see him like really take on a serious role where he had to really act and just really take off with it. So out of your basic 5-star structure, it's a solid 4. It's really, really good. I wouldn't quite call it amazing, but it's definitely worth a watch. 6 episodes. Each of them are under an hour. Well, most of them, I think one's like an hour and some change. But for the most part, it's about a 6-hour or so miniseries that's a really good binge watch if you like interesting and intriguing spy tales, if you like espionage stories, if you like counterintelligence dramas and stuff like that. Because I believe the last one I just talked about was that one, The Looming Tower. I would definitely recommend you give it a watch if you want to see. And Sacha Baron Cohen's not just the only good actor in it. Noah Emmerich is in this. He plays one of the Israeli agents as well, and he's really good in this as well. So yeah, 4 out of 5 stars. Highly recommended. I still got a couple more reviews to do now that I think about it. Sweating my fat ass off. And the 2 I got to do are, still got to review Ford v Ferrari, because I saw that like last month. Thank God for gift cards, right? Thank God for Christmas gift cards. And yeah, Ford v Ferrari. And oh yeah, I just finished The Mandalorian on Disney Plus. So that's going to be the next one I talk about. And then I just finished first 2 episodes for season 5 of Black Mirror. And the last one, which I'm pretty sure is the one with Miley Cyrus in it that everyone's been ragging on, but I haven't seen it yet, so I'll give my opinion when I see it. And I should get that through pretty quickly and review that season of television in due short time. So, cheers, Biggie. Yay, sativa. Actually, I have no idea if it's sativa or not. I don't even know what the fuck that stuff's called. Have a good day, y'all.